Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment.
All right, Creative, wouldn't you believe it? Another week. Episode number 68 of the show. And we're going to start as usual with gearing and leveling. You know what? Scrap that. I need to get something off my chest here. It is related, but it has to do with the Phyla-Festivus event. I mean, let me go into my spiel. I'm not really happy about this. So we talked when we discussed that we were divorcing Scopely, that we were gonna, play the game our own way and do our own thing. And we always talk about how the game within the game is not, battling villains or heroes with your team. Like, that is the mechanics, but it's all about managing resources, right? And how do we are able to defeat the PhDs, that I call them, that are trying to get us to spend money, right? That's kind of the game we play. We're like, all right, we're going to figure out through a lot of calculation based on the odds that they tell us exist in the game. We're going to do planning. We're going to run spreadsheets. We're going to compare calculations between the two of us until we get to where we feel like we have a plan. We've hoarded resources for these particular events. And on average, you don't even have to have above average luck. You should get what you want based on the plan. And that's what they hope most people don't do. They just kind of go through the event as they will, and then they want to spend to not miss out. But we do careful, meticulous, lengthy, vetted plans, right? We've been doing it for a couple years. And then we not just create the plan. Now you have to execute the plan, right? Day in, day out, we're going to do 8 core refreshes on the event, and we're going to run every node, and we're going to be careful so when the shards run out, you don't overspend, and you do everything perfectly, right? Don't miss a day. 15 days in a row of doing this plan that we came up with. And in the end, I get shafted because of the odds that they produced. They told us what the odds are, so on average, I should have gotten it. And what I'm talking about is Phyla-Festivus with the method that we described, which is very costly, 9,000 cores, right, over the course of the event. 8 refreshes every day. You should get a 5-star, or at least super close to it. I was short by 56 shards. 56 shards. It was like, what kind of release is that? Like the old event release, not Moondragon. We'll get to that. That would put you like somewhere right after 4, where I should be well into 5-star. I have people on the Discord that only did the 50s, and they have more shards than I do.
Oof. Ouch.
It saved 6,000 cores, and they're ahead of me with Phyla-Festivus. Just because, whatever the reason may be. I calculate that I open between 53 and 55 orbs, and I saw her in the middle for more than 5 shards 3 times. 2 16s and 1 18.
Man.
Not a single golden, and not consistent. If you get a few, all I needed was like 3 of those 18s, and I'm done. But no, it was all 5 or nothing. And then I had saved the last 7, right? That I needed. I needed an average of 10, which was super high, right? The average is 5 shards. And I told Creative, I'm going to get 14 out of these 7, which is the mathematical minimum, right? 1 on each side. And I sent him the screenshot when I was done. I didn't get 14. I got 15. So one time it was a 2. And then the middle was just other stuff. One of the things we realized is that I guess I got Iceman a ton because I'm way ahead of you on Iceman. But I don't care about Iceman. I want Phyla-Vel, which is what the event was for. So anyway, one of the things that makes this frustrating is we come up with the plan, we execute. This is a game we're playing, and now I can't even play that because it doesn't work because of whatever reason. So what is there left? Even if I wanted to spend the ridiculous $30 for 50 shards, I still wouldn't have a 5-star Phyla-Vel after all this.
Outrageous.
So, I mean, what? Any comments, Creative, on my?
I told you what you need to do. You need to log a ticket and say, you guys forgot to put Phyla-Vel in my orbs. How is it possible that I spent 8,000 cores, opened X number of orbs, and I got only this many? This mathematically does not make sense. Please stop cheating.
I mean, there's got to be something. There's no way this makes sense. So even if I bought whenever they decide to sell it, which may be during the Adam Warlock event, I'm sure, I guess I would have to buy it twice. That's $60 for a 5-star. Not going to happen. So my alternative is to sit and wait. What do you think? 4 to 6 months? Like Christmas? Maybe?
Oh, at least 6 months. We've not gotten... Nothing's been farmable faster than that, unless it was a character that no one cared about.
So around Christmas, I can start the farming for Phyla-Vel to get the 5-star. And meanwhile, these people in Arena are probably going to be destroying me. So not a fun time for Frid here, following our well laid out plans and getting nowhere with them. Pretty frustrating. Even the game that we try to play is now denied, for me at least. Not like some other people, like the co-host of this show, who got a ton of Phyla-Vel. This happened with Domino.
Yep.
But I don't think it was this bad. I should look at the old notes, but yeah. And Kestrel was pretty bad, but I had bought an offer, and it actually worked out in the end because the last, 10 or so, she started dropping a lot. So I was hoping for a repeat, but it didn't work. And I tried all the methods, save 10 and open 10, open as you go, everything, and nothing worked. Seed theory, no seed theory. It's been a tough couple weeks, let's just say, for me with this. So get that off my chest, and I can move on to Moondragon. Now, this is funny because this got a lot of heat from the community, right? People were pissed, worst event ever, blah, 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 blah. But they, I guess, forgot that they actually boosted the drop rate.
Well, I think most of those videos came out before the orb was in the game. And so they, we waited to reserve judgment until the orb was there, until we saw all the milestones. And so ultimately, it was the same number of shards from the milestone, but the Unity orb was significantly better on average, of course. So I think a lot of those videos came out when they just saw the preview of some of the milestones.
Yeah.
Doing some clickbait.
Yep. And we talked about how to get it. I did open 3 of the, what do we call them? Blitz orbs, the 675 core Blitz orbs. I got 22 out of that. So I did do that, but as of right now, there's 2 full days left, right, on this event.
Yep.
And I've been blitzing my mind off with our method of dropping, and you have 3 teams that you can drop down, and when you lose, I have 128 out of 130. So, that was the other thing. At one point, Moondragon was ahead of Phyla-Vel.
Well, you did open some of the orbs, but still, the point's the same. Yeah.
And this was supposed to be the bad event. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I would be right now 22 less. So we'll see if if I end up above 22 of 200, then I could have achieved it completely without opening those orbs. So I've seen the gold one in the middle a bunch of times. So I guess this is their way of repaying, but still angry because it costs so many cores. And I don't mind blitzing like this, put a timer on and just do it. But the cores are gone. I'm at the lowest core amount in a long time. But I'm okay with this Moon Dragon event so far. What do you have any comments on the event? Did you feel any different or?
So I'm not there yet, and you just told me that the 675 a core cost orb or orb that costs that much has disappeared from the game. So I'm looking at about 20 more shards, but we're following our averages for the most part. We're pretty darn close to where it is. And we got some additional things. As always, free stuff is good. So this follows the pattern, and it gets us pretty darn close to 5 yellow stars. I think almost closer than any event that we've had in probably a year and a half. So from that perspective, I'm fine. In terms of the characters selected, though, I think that's a valid beef. The fact that we had to go down to Gamma 2 just to run these characters. And so we talked about it last week. We went down to Gamma 2, which has those nodes have no character requirements, and we ran 5 characters, and everybody ran 5 characters for every node, and we even left the final boss up in case people had not gotten their 9 attacks in. So the fact that we had to do that, it definitely feels bad, right? So that was poorly thought out for sure. But in terms of the character is what we care about, the character shards, and that's on par, a little better than what we've done in the past.
I think that kind of stuff, while not well thought out, the community kind of figured out how to work around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay, like how we do blitz sometimes or whatever in different ways to achieve. I'm okay with that. That's not that bad. It's kind of like it would have been better if the selection was better, but that's okay. And it's only for a little bit, and then you move on. This whole thing about just being at the mercy of random drops over the game is what really kills you, because you can't plan for that. So I'm glad the Alliance was agile and quickly adopted this, and everybody pulled together to get it done. And we're back to Gamma 4.2. The joy that is.
Yeah, still haven't heard news. Gamma still has not been updated.
Oh gosh, what a nightmare. Ugh. All right, so I'm happy with the event. It didn't have extras, right? This is just a regular Unity orb. The event for Phyla-Vel had vote for Loki, and that had extras, so that was good. But I don't want to talk about that event anymore. Did you get that costume or no? You're just saving.
Yeah, I went ahead and got it.
Okay.
I don't think it's all that great, but I figured it's at least something better than the others. It's actually a true costume, not a color change.
Yeah, and did you see? I actually played with Loki in a war battle and noticed that the clones are also in the uniform. They don't. So I don't know. They don't have the Loki gear, so it's a clone of him. So
the one thing I have noticed though is the only place you see, there's 2 places you see the costume when you're playing or playing against in an actual match of some variety, and then when you're actually on that character's screen. But when you're going through the roster and it's just their profile, their headshot, or when you're picking a target in war or in blitz, it's still they didn't redo that profile. They only did just the full model in the game. That was kind of odd that even though you've got the costume for Loki and I click on him, you see the costume, but you go back to the roster, you go back and look at a war room or anything, it doesn't have anything actually different. So that's kind of strange. So it's a little surprise when you get into the match.
It's very noticeable with Iceman, because he looks so different, right, from the costume to no costume, and you're like, whoa, that's a change.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, so I hope they keep throwing. I mean, if a costume comes that way with doing something that you're already going to do, then by all means. Plus all the other like ISOs or whatever they threw in. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Polaris. Okay, next problem child to get us out of wallet. And gotta say, the first few days have been good for me. Knock on wood. Today or yesterday was okay, but the first couple days I got some. She was dropping, so I've only had to do 3 attempts, so 2 refreshes. But today I'm gonna do a 4th attempt, so a 3rd refresh because I only got 6, and I'm starting to get a little bit concerned.
Well, let's be fair. I've been saying, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh," in your ear all the time, but I think you're finally starting to get a little worried.
You're like, it's not gonna happen. These 2x days are gonna suck.
They're gonna screw me over. Yeah, I mean, it's all gonna come down to these stupid 2x days. Thankfully, there's 4 of them for the U.S. people, but still, I'm doing a few more. So.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll report on that how we're doing next week because we'll still be dealing with trying to get her to 5, probably, very likely. All right, Scream. I decided to go ahead and buy it at the overpriced price from Arena. Just kind of said, what else am I going to do? And I got her to 7 stars. So she's finished.
Yeah, but you need to give the listeners a little bit of a caveat. You weren't going from 0 to 300. You were already at 200. So it was only 100 shards. You got the creative stamp of approval just to close that out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that much. And she hits very hard.
I'm telling you, man.
She helps. Now the boss was sometimes kind of iffy, and I had no problems. And she's probably helping with that a lot. So that was neat. Yelena is 6 stars, so I can use her for the 6. What is it? Back to boot camp.
Yep.
But I need her and/or Red Guardian for the 7. So I don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon. And then I also finished Longshot. Not finished, but got him to 6 stars from the War Store. So now that's gonna take forever. Oh, and I don't even know if I should buy him. I probably shouldn't. Like, I mean, 300.
Well, so let's think about this for a second. So again, this wonderful mythic legendary event where we have to not only have characters at 7 yellow stars to get the legendary there. You also have to have them at gear tier 14. Oh, and by the way, ISO level 5. Are you really going to want to spend your controller currency, your controller ISOs on Polaris? Mm-hmm. She's not a terrible character, don't get me wrong, but do you really want to spend all those ISOs on her and then multiple man, another good character, but do you really want to spend on him? Where you're going to have, some other characters coming right away that are protectors. I mean, so that ISO level 5 to me is a bit ridiculous on that last one. That to me that's the biggest barrier entry. The shard farming, of course, will take forever, but those ISOs, and yeah, they're talking about doubling things, but it's still going to be paltry. We need to run the numbers on that with the 2x stuff that's supposedly coming. It's still going to take a while to get all those ISOs. To me, I think that's as big a barrier.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. What's the 6 star requirement? Do you know?
For tier or ISO, I don't know, what do you call it? Level 1 or tier 1, level 4. I think that's what it's called.
And the gear?
I think it's 14 or 13. Let me think on that one. It is actually. Let me just look here. It's gear 13.
Okay.
Wow. So that's not terrible, but when you start thinking about how many characters we've got to level up for DD4, how many characters we now have to level up for Doom, and we're going to be doing, difficulty 3 on all the Greeks. You need to have a wide roster. That's a lot of those mats. I'm still surprised that we still haven't seen these Origin challenges. We're getting pretty desperate for some of these orange gear, and we have a massive skill gear crunch too. So.
Oh yeah, no, I'll get to that. My favorite Phyla-Vel, Smurf, non-Cree.
I love that part. That's the It's like, we don't want to update Gamma. We don't want to make it easier for anybody. So let's just not give her the Kree tag.
Even though she's clearly a Kree.
Even though she's clearly a Kree.
The name is completely Kree. It's like, okay, with the dash and everything. I'm like, all right, they're really trying. So I got her to ISO level 5 because she's Protector. Is that right?
Yep.
So I had a ton of those. So I was like, all right. I thought she could help with bio, but it's also for arena purposes. So took care of that. Gamora, tier 15. Moondragon, Phyla-Vel, tier 14. And I've been using them in arena already with Doctor Doom.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right 5th because he can get killed sometimes in the mirror. But it's been working okay. I did a 100k punch up on a mirror match with that team because there's maybe a handful of those running around, and when Adam Warlock comes out, it's gonna get crazy. So because of this Gamora and Moondragon gearing, I'm gonna be out of this artificially scarce superior secret intel. That's the skill gear that goes kind of on the left side. I opened every orange raid orb that I had, 800 plus. And they don't drop much. I know you told me this before. They kind of suck.
They don't kind of suck. They suck hard.
And I opened maybe 50 or 60 of the elites that I had stashed, and they don't drop much either. So there's only 3 nodes that drop this. So when we get to the news, we'll continue talking about why this is a problem. And I don't know what they're going to do to fix it. Also for Gamora, I bought the 6 red star. So I cracked open my or spend my gold promo credits, which is crazy. You never do that. But I think based on her being the damage and all that stuff, it makes sense to have her that high. I mean, she just destroys people with the basic. It's kind of insane. And then finally, from a red star perspective, I was able to pull a 5 red on Adam Warlock. And I still have, let me see, I can look here really quick. 160 regular reds, but I'm down to only 3 elite 5s. I had 9 or something like that. But still, pretty good outcome, and happy with that. If I can unlock him at 5, he'll be 5 reds out of the gate. So anyway, that's my extended gearing and leveling Festivus edition, thanks to Phyla-Vel and her event. How about you? What you been up to?
Yeah, so I really have almost like no show notes for the first time in 68 episodes because it was a lot of the same stuff as you. I'll go backwards just because it's easy for me to just rattle it off. So I don't normally talk about red stars, but I will this time because Frid has had such great luck, and even with this last opening for Adam Wallet, he had to open a little bit. I opened 40 regular red star orbs, 4 or 5 elite 4s, 4 elite 5s, and on the very last elite 5, I got Adam at 5 red stars before he was 3. I was sweating bullets. So
yeah, you were pinging me like I'm getting freaked out, and it was like the last hope. Yeah, but I'm glad that you got it on that last one, so that was good.
Oh, man, I tell you. So, yet again, the RNG aspects of the game, very, very frustrating. In terms of Infinity Watch, that's all I'm really doing from a gearing and leveling perspective. I've got only one character in Gamora to T15. The rest are tier 13 and slowly bringing them up. I looked at the math and I pinged it in Discord. To get this team up, plus I have to do a little bit of leveling on Polaris, I only had to spend a mere 30 million in gold. And this is when everyone was at tier 13. It is outrageous how much we have to spend to get these characters up to usable in arena, which means the highest they go. So, 30 million in gold is just insane. So thankfully, I think I still have enough of the gold orbs if they actually drop anything. Otherwise, I may be out of gold for the first time in probably 8 months here pretty soon. So I've seen some content creators talking about gold, and maybe there's going to give us some more gold. We'll see, but I'm not holding my breath anymore on that. But I
Like
will.
out of like zero, like you don't have gold, that kind of thing.
I could. I mean, so right now I'm hovering around 16 million, and I've got quite a few gold orbs. But to level all these characters up to level 80, and then
Mhm.
do tier 15, and then add them on top of that, I could be out. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, the event for Adam isn't even here. We haven't even unlocked him, so we're earning the 1.4 a day. So it'll probably work itself out. But I will definitely go on a spending freeze after the Infinity Watch, core freeze, and so I'm going to be hoarding again. While there's stuff that's coming as usual that'll be OP, I am likely going to build my stash back up. What else? So that was some of the gearing. I am very nervous about Polaris. Started off the first day with like 4 refreshes and 2 shards. Thankfully, it's been averaging around the 6, which we need every day. But I am doing at least 3 refreshes. A lot of times I do a 4th and get nothing, which is really frustrating. And then Moondragon, I think I said it earlier, I'm about 20 shards away. And I opened 9 orbs and got 3 shards. I've been doing fantastic today, or up till today, but I'm concerned there as well. Also, just to help on the Polaris front, we haven't been opening milestone orbs because we talked about how bad they are at least a month ago. Where, all the characters we've already had maxed forever. And so the only thing I really care about is the paltry amount of premium orb, gold orb, or training orb fragments. And then every once in a while you get some elite promotion credits. Or at least So I opened at least 250 of those. Simply just to get Ultimate shards. So I can get a 1 in 150 chance of getting some Polaris shards. So after at least 250 milestone orbs and at least 15 to 20 premium orbs, and I don't know how many Ultimus orbs, it had to be at least 30 Ultimus orbs, maybe even more than that, I achieved a grand total of 0 Polaris shards. So, which I expected, but I figured might as well open it. I'm running low on training mats as well, so I have a stockpile of those.
Yeah, I saw a video. It may have been Beyond the Tube, I think is the name of the content creator.
Oh, yeah, I've seen his stuff. It's good.
He had what you're talking about, plus mega orbs, plus all this stuff, and he got 0 Polaris. It was bad. He got a bunch of other stuff that was good, but no Polaris. The PhDs are hard at work on that lever of the drop rates. Just shave some percentage points off so people don't get it, and then they can panic before Adam shows up. Whew.
Should we start a class action lawsuit to sequester or seize their code and look at the malicious levers that they have behind the scenes? I think we should.
Yeah, show us your your overall average drop rates at points in time for these characters to see if it's really constant, or do you trickle it when certain events, leading up to them. Okay.
Yeah, so that's I think that's probably it for me.
How many Phyla-Vel did you cover that?
I didn't want to pour salt in the wound, but I can cover it. So not only did I achieve the 5 yellow stars, I achieved that with 4.5 days to go. I still kept going with the 50 shards, or 50 core refreshes, the 3 or 4 of those a day, just because, there's gold and other things in there, plus other characters. And again, this is going to be the only way we get these things for a while. I ended up with 74 shards over 5 yellow stars. So if I could give those to you, you'd be okay.
So you save, what is it, 1,600 cores, 4 days, 400, and you have 126 more shards than me.
That is just insanity. Insanity. Sanity.
Yeah, I think I did a rough average, and it was 4 per orb when the average is 5 point something. So a whole shard short over all my opening, which is crazy over so many days and so many orbs. It just doesn't make sense. But well, good. I mean, hopefully, I don't know what she represents for the team and how long does she need to stay alive. I thought she did a lot of damage, so
She has a very high amount of damage, but I don't see her doing a ton. Honestly, her special does a cleanse, and then she also gives defense up and some other things. So it's really all you need her to do is live into turn 2 to do her special and alt and her passive in the beginning. And so it's still all about the Gamora show and getting those assists with Nebula.
okay. Yep. Well, we'll see. When I get her in 6 months, you can tell me how it has been for 6 months. As you may get to 6. Who knows? Because she's in different orbs. Anyway, that's the last salt in the wound. All right. So shall we move on to the news?
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
All right. So the new strike time. It has been a while, right? Since they've done one of these.
Very long time.
And the worst kept secret Avenger has been confirmed with Captain Sam coming to the game. This has been leaked and confirmed 20 times. And then also new information that Sharon Carter is coming to the game. I mean, I'm not a huge theory crafter, but I saw some of the percentages and the things that she does, and they seem pretty crazy. Like now everything does, I think it was like 600 to the primary, 450 to the adjacent, and then apply defense down and ability block and defense down to the adjacents. Like a whole bunch of stuff.
Slow for 3 turns. I mean,
on a basic. 3 turns slow on a basic.
Yeah.
And it works on the assist. It's just crazy stuff. Now, a couple of things to talk about here so we can discuss. First off, these are both skill characters, right? Mm-hmm. And they have raid-specific capabilities. So, why do you think they give this to us now? I mean, we have Kestrel, and we figured out how to do the skill nodes in Doom Raid, right? So, what are these for now? Very specific raid characters being released now.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is by the time you start doing the difficulty tiers in Doom, we're not going to have the damage. So these guys clearly are OP, and they will do more damage. But I don't know. It's very perplexing, to say the least.
You think if they're catch-up mechanic, new player comes in, they don't have to worry about, I don't know, we've been putting like Corvus Glaive and Proxy Man Punisher and some other stuff to fill in the blanks. You just get Kestrel and these guys and you're good to go. Maybe that's part of it. But I really don't know why now, because maybe it's, like you said, the scaling up of the difficulty slider. The other problem is their skill. So what did I just talk about a second ago with Gamora and Moondragon? I don't have any orange secret intel, and now I will have much less orange secret intel because these two characters are skill. So a big skill gear crunch in the orange space coming your way. Are you doing okay on secret intel? Do you have like 2,000 of those laying around?
About 700 or so, but I still haven't. I'm not as far in the gearing as you, but I should be able to get through Infinity Watch. After that, I don't remember. I think I'll have like 10 left.
So yeah, they'll be gone. So what are you gonna do about these guys?
Nothing.
Do you think
I already have? I mean, I can't one shot any of the bosses in Doom, which is it's not good. But we have 3 people kind of covering our 2 lanes. You have you and one partner, but I can get through 2/3 of that boss node already. I get through the other nodes. This doesn't add any value to me. And it's a global character. They're both global characters. We already have plenty of global characters for Greek raids for beta. or alpha, whichever one it is, alpha. And skill, again, we've got pretty good raid characters already with Red Guardian and Night Nurse, and then there's a whole host of really good skill characters from Taskmaster to Zemo to Kestrel. So they don't do anything for me that I can't do today. And I'm going to be out of gold. I'm going to be out of everything else. So I'm sure they're going to be fantastic at OP, but I don't see them breaking into the arena meta. The Infinity Watch is going to be a 5-person team. Again, they want to sell you a 5-person team. So they're not doing anything for me.
So you may just parking lot them and just kind of leave them there? Is that what you're thinking?
Parking lot, even at that, probably.
Okay.
Blitz team. That's probably they can carry some blitz team for me.
I mean, I can't see where else you would use them. They're raid specific, so.
And I mean, so we haven't talked about it on the show. It's another worst kept secret is what changes are coming to war, and that it's big changes, folks, huge changes. They're going to add 2 rooms of defense and give you more attacks. And so yes, you're going to need more there, but I don't use half my roster anyway. So these really perplex me. It's great that it's a tie-in to the show. We like the Winter Soldier, Falcon Winter Soldier show, and but I don't know what these characters do for me. Yeah,
the character model, as always, that's not a problem in this game. It looks really cool. Mm-hmm. I saw one of the attacks kind of flies through everybody and just kind of runs them over. I thought that was pretty neat. The animations.
That's what Falcon does already.
Well, no, he kind of flies in front of them, right, and blows them up.
Okay.
This
so they moved his position.
No, he just goes through them. Did you see it? Maybe
I'll have to. I was trying to read and watch the show.
Think of it like a bowling ball through the pins.
Okay.
Versus standing in front and firing. Sure. He's literally flying through them. Anyway, let's see. And then, they also said that there is a third character, Secret Avenger, that will join them. So that'll be somebody else to reveal. And then that's it. They don't have any other announcements, so it won't be a full team for who knows how long. So for me,
another partial team.
Yeah, for me, just let them sit there, and when they become required for a legendary, we can panic accordingly. All right. Any other thoughts on that reveal?
No, it's everybody kind of expected that. I'm surprised that they have no plan for the other 2 characters, or at least publicly have not stated it. They said something like, "We want to see what the players do with them." So, these partial teams are very perplexing. Indeed, I'm losing count of how many we have, but very, very confused on that. It's everything you do is a 5-person team, so I don't know.
Okay, so moving on from that. I think this is the first time forever, which continues a good trend, where they are actually announcing events with dates associated to them. And they have revealed, for our benefit, the days where we're going to have the double drops on the X Factor. And that's going to be June 27th and June 30th. So remember, if you are in the US, save your farming of Polaris and Multiple Man, for that matter, until after server reset, which for Creative and I is at 8 p.m. on the Eastern United States. That will allow you to run the 2X for Polaris, and then, what is that, 5 hours after, at 1 a.m. Eastern, you get the whole objectives and everything, the nodes refresh. So the 2X is still active, and then you can run them again, effectively doubling the double, right? For that day. And you can do it twice when you do it again on the 30th.
And you don't have to wake up at 1 a.m.
Right. Just do it before 8 p.m. the next day. That's right. Yeah. Just wake up at 1 and do it.
I've got to get the shards.
Gotta see if I can. Then you can't sleep. Don't do that. Just wait until you wake up. So what do you think? Continue good trend, right, of announcing dates so that you can at least have that in your mind. So, because the event thing in the game can be unreliable sometimes. So, I mean,
Yep.
this can be unreliable too, but hopefully they'll stick to it. So just be on the lookout for that. And we normally announce on the Discord server. We put out little PSAs to remind people. So come join us in case you want to have a reminder about this as well. Okay, anything else that jumped out at you from the news?
No, I think I'd probably just throw it's very nice of a calendar for ions and ion crystals or iso crystals. It's coming out. I got the impression that it's a one-time thing, so this is hopefully a bridge to the changes that they're making. But other than that, most of the news everybody kind of already knew about, or was just kind of rehashing some things that have been covered already.
So it's 40 ISO orbs, 10 premium orbs, and let me see. That's 12, 20, to 10 of the ion orbs. Okay, that's pretty good. Just for 7 days.
Right.
Good. I don't think it's permanent. I think it's a one-time.
Yep.
All right. So that covers the news and creative. I think you have.
I just have some rambling here. I don't know if we'll throw it under Festivus or some other things, but there's been a lot of chatter on the Discord server. A lot of hate in and around PvP, or if you like to call it what they call in the game, real-time arena. And it certainly, we've talked about how the game mode kind of missed the mark. We talked about its evolution. The meaningless milestones are just that meaningless. But I was surprised at the level of, I'll use the word hate. I don't need to use that word much, but hate of PvP. We had several of our longtime listeners and contributors or commentators on Discord talking about how they might not even do more than the 2 matches a day. Just they're so frustrated with it. And one of the players was he's probably more of a mid-game player or early in-game. He doesn't necessarily have the 8,000 cores that Frid and I spent on Kestrel. And so he's running into these OP souped-up Kestrels, and he doesn't have one of those. So, and I, you and I talked a little about it. I'm not overly bothered by PvP because I just use the OP character and I hit auto, and I'm doing other things. So, well, actually, I play it probably more than I suggest there. I probably play it and then at a certain point hit auto. But overall, I hit all of the objectives by Wednesday, even the full weekly ones, and then within 10 minutes, maybe a little more than that. I probably should time it. I've done the dailies as well, and again, I'm just using the OP characters, and half the time my opponent hardly gets a turn. Which if I was the other side of that coin, I'd be pretty pissed as well. So it was had so much potential of what it could do, but I was surprised at the level of frustration, but it came from a different angle. And it was basically my opponent's kind of angle that you're not even getting a turn off, or half your team is dead by the time you get a first turn off. And so being forced into these milestones certainly was a key comment. And then 2, just the OP characters being used. And so one of the questions was, how would we fix it? And so my commentary really is, I would say the game is really more broken than necessarily PvP is, in that we have these characters that make your entire roster obsolete. And if you're allowing those characters, then that's all that's going to be played. So one of my solutions was really about just don't allow characters that have only been around for 3 or less months. And that way it accomplishes what Scopely always wants, which is us to build a wired roster, for Greek raids and other things. But it also would foster people actually, doing theory crafting and playing around instead of, the pain train. So I think it's, again, more of the game and the power leap, but certainly the game mode is flawed. So So I've rambled quite a bit here, Fred. And so I don't know if you saw all those comments in Discord or not, but anything you want to add? What's your frustration level with PvP?
So I guess the frustration, if I didn't read it all, so I'm just reacting here, and I'm assuming is that there are people out there that actually want to play the game and have fun while doing it, and PvP would be a perfect place to do that, right? Bring in a team, you get to mix and match, try some different stuff. But you can't because there's always some giant Kestrel and Infinity Watch that will just murder you before you can do anything. So it takes away the whole experience and the whole fun that you're trying to have. As I mentioned, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to get through it. So I'm like you. I just find the combination that I need. I kind of figured out this down to a science. Like, okay, if I'm looking for knockouts, this is the team. If I'm looking for abilities, I do these defensive teams that last forever, and they just keep healing themselves and doing abilities over and over again to do it. And that's all I do. And I'm sure my opponent, if we find a good one that's trying to do the same thing, appreciates it so we can get through it quickly. But yeah, I don't really see it as a mode to learn how to play the game or try to find counters because there's no way to do that. I mean, the only way would be if there's pre-selected teams, but then that wouldn't work, right? Because you just counter. So I just don't know what you can do to fix it in an effective way. And I wonder what the delay is with these events. It's probably because they're not getting the results they want. Everybody's just throwing it on auto and moving on. So have you seen a mode like this be effective in a game? I guess it's the question. I mean,
well, so one of the things that I also commented on is that there isn't everywhere in the game there isn't an unlimited play that gives you rewards. And so I told you earlier this week that very often I log in and I have nothing to do. Blitz, do 5 minutes and then move on. But most of the time, I don't have anything to do. And PvP could have been a game mode that could have continuously rewarded you for continuing to play. But we're maxed out at these rewards. I was thinking about Disney's Sorceress Arena and a couple other games where PvP actually was an unlimited mode, and you had a league of sorts, and you could just keep playing. And if every 10 wins, you get a little pack, and you get to do that. You could also earn shards. And the other piece was, these battle pass type objectives weren't limited to just this game mode. So, if people, you always want to give players the flexibility to do what they want. And so if you're forcing players into a particular game mode, you're forcing them to use a character or types of characters that they don't want, give them some options to, make it work in raids or other places. But that the capping of rewards, the juices has to be worth the squeeze, that infamous phrase that was floating around. I do all the rewards. I get the ions because we're desperate for those. But ultimately it's turned into arena in that whoever has spent the most money and has the biggest stars, because the matchmaking is probably the other people think or people complain about is the matchmaking. Half the time you're doing some crazy punch up. So it's very strange time in the game for sure.
And just to clarify on the DSA side, the pack is once a day. So once you have to do 10 trophies, which I think means you win 4 times.
Okay.
Or win 3 and knock out 1, something like that. But at least it's a pack of some kind. Think of it like an orb, like some kind of orb. And then there is league rewards on a weekly that did grant you shards. And then a season also had shards. And they also added a daily that gave you gold for winning 5. We have, I don't know how much we get, but it's kind of decent over there. But I'm still like casual sometimes, log on to DSA, and I can't find myself trying to do 5 PvP matches, even though it has all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm not as dedicated. I'm sure I would do it here. So some sort of reward or shard may help, but I don't know. It'd
Yeah.
just be another blitz kind of grind to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately we never, the leagues is still coming soon, and all the other things that have been coming soon for a while. Those types of things, these events, these leagues, those could shake it up, and maybe you don't need to go after the objective. You could, really play the game and have fun with it, and just winning would be the objective there. So again, some flexibility there for players, forcing them. Thankfully we don't have you have to get 500 protector attacks in anymore. But at the same time, I've tried to run like a, protector support team just to do it, to get the hero or the villain things. But, that doesn't even work anymore. Everything's just so OP. Everything dies so fast.
You get run over. You just have to run into somebody that has it, and that's the perfect match.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just set it on the side, watch something or do something else, and just until the objectives are done. So
yep. So again, I think it's still more of the fact of the overall game, and the power leap is ultimately the problem. But they could expand it. I just don't see them actually spending any time there based upon the player reaction to this. So we'll see. So for those of you that are done with it, feel free to the fastest method to get your 2 matches is literally pick your 5 lowest tunes and hit play, and they die right away to the OP Kestrels. So that will get you your 2. Sorry that that did not live up to the billing. That is giving you frustration. As always, you can elect not to play it, but certainly you're missing out on some of those ions, particularly. The other thing, and surprisingly, we're already 50 minutes into this, and I don't want to go too far down the negative rabbit hole, but overall, it is getting depressing, and I just going through our usual list of content creators and watching videos and listening to other things. Everybody keeps talking about, is the game any fun anymore? And that is very scary to me, that people are even asking the question. The fact that they have to ask the question means it really isn't. They make excuses and they say it is or it isn't. For us, we talk about the extra added element of fun, which is, outsmarting the PhDs. But there is no new content. I'm sorry, but ISO blue or tier 2, level 2, whatever the right wording is not new content that excites me. Yet more characters that I don't need doesn't excite me. I do like the Doom raids in that it is, something different that requires me to think and play. And thank God we have Blitz Sim. Otherwise I may have taken a long walk off a short pier. But it is a precarious state of the game. We know a lot of people that have quit recently. Hopefully our listeners are not getting depressed by this. But we talked about finding our own fun, and certainly I'm doing that. I don't really necessarily get nearly as invested in the Scopely announcements, but I'm still waiting for this big reveal of them addressing the feedback that has come out. Maybe we need to reach out to the Save MSF group or Evan B and some of those just to see if has there been any breakthroughs. Everybody's talked about how they went just overboard on monetization of the game, and Adam Wallet and Silver Surfer with the $2 signs. But I keep waiting for the breakthrough. And I was hoping the strike time was going to be it, where, Cerebro said your opinions have not been heard recently. I'm going to go talk to leadership, but we still haven't heard anything back. So that's making me a bit nervous. So I have some more thoughts, but I've been talking too much, Fred. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough when we go, we like to watch these videos to learn or at least be entertained, and the whole mood of the content creator is one of the disappointment and just kind of going through the motions and saying things like, well, I'm a content creator, so I still do this, but maybe not having as much fun even with the game, and that's definitely not the right trend. I think Valley Flying, who tends to be super positive, was
Yes.
really dark, and he's trying again to. That's his brand, right? He's the positive guy, but even him, you can see
Oh
him
man, he's
struggling.
salt left, right, and center. So first and foremost, we are susceptible to that. I've had Festivus forever, and I weave it into every topic I can. But it is, I do worry about where we are. And again, Scopely's had so much time. It's now been 2 months since they announced the Doom ISO stuff, and so I'm really hopeful that something is right around the corner. But they're running out of time, I think.
Do you think we're the outliers, and everybody else is okay with the game, and they're making tons of money, and we're just a different breed? I don't know. I would doubt it. I mean,
No,
we play games for ages, so
yeah. I don't think so. We are not the normal player. We've talked about that. Most people do not spend nearly as much time planning these things out and running numbers. They listen to us to make their lives easier. But we do play a lot. But most of the people that we interact with, do play a lot. While there are casual people out there, I still think that the majority of the player base is playing at least 2 hours a day. Even the casual ones probably playing an hour a day. I can't come to grips as to how many people are actually spending, because we're on the other end of the end game, and we see a lot of people that buy every character and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's not just us. I don't think it's just the content creators. It's just the end game. I'm seeing frustrations across the board.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually seen some new perspectives on some early and mid game players that Scopely hasn't really thought through some progression systems, and they get stuck where they can't progress in the was it Villain and Nexus campaigns, because you have to be level 70, and so
Right.
they get to like level 50 and they can't progress. They can't get more orange gear. So there's if I see too many bottlenecks across the game, if they haven't fixed that I mean, that's their while they have this whole pool of whales and krakens, I still think they expect a significant number of new players coming in and spending money too.
Yep. And we've talked about there's always going to be the next thing, and there's some games on the horizon. We talked about Future Revolution, of course, which is a Marvel game. There's also Diablo Immortal. Remember, we played a bunch of Diablo 3,
Mm-hmm.
and that's supposed to be a mobile game. And Blizzard can get it right. So, is that where this is going to ultimately end? I mean, it's happened to me with the other games, like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. You played for a year or two, and then it gets to that point where the game is not fun anymore. I wouldn't want to see that happen to this game, but we'll see. I mean, they have an opportunity. It's just that this Phyla-Festivus thing and some other things. It's like, why am I spending all this time? I'm not even getting what I want. So it's gonna be tough. I hope they, feel the pressure. Like you used to say, competition, right, is the one thing that could make them actually react. So maybe that's what's coming finally.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be so negative here. I'm actually saying this in a hopeful manner, because I really, really thought this week we were going to get, I always joke, the be-all, end-all, the blog post to end-all blog post. I really thought, particularly with the strike time, that we were going to get more, and we did not get anything. All they did was rehash, oh, by the way, we're going to bring back the other version of Doom, and we still don't have a date. So I was surprised at that. There's a lot going on in the world today, COVID, and now supposedly everybody and their brother's leaving their job, or they're tired of their jobs because they've been sitting in their house or something. So, they could be dealing with a lot of turnover, but I'm saying this really as a hopeful thing. I'm hopeful that Scopely is listening. I don't know what would magically make me feel better, so I can't give them that silver bullet, but certainly it's not more OP characters that make my roster that I've spent 2+ years working on obsolete. It's not that. So, and it's not giving me 2 more rooms in war, and it's not giving me a few more attacks in war. So we need something to shake up the game. We'll have to think on that some more. The other part is, we're in the month of June. This is typically when we see the roadmap for the remainder of the year, or now or July. So hopefully that comes out pretty soon. That gives us something to get excited about. For our listeners, again, sorry to go kind of depressing here at the end, but we really, really, really want to push on Scopely to listen to the player base. There's no need for monetizing every aspect of the game to the level it is, but we stress, find what works for you, find what's fun. For us, that is beating the system, that is playing the in-game content, and really pushing ourselves there. So that's what drives us. Find what drives you for the game and is a challenge and excites you.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's well said, to try to, again, make it sound more hopeful than it's not just a bashing. It's like we're passionate about the game, we want it to succeed, but it needs something. So we'll continue to think through it. And if you want to continue the conversation with us, go check out the Discord. Link is going to be on the show notes. You could also email us, old-fashioned way, rngendgame@gmail.com. I think that never happens because most people are in Discord now.
Mm-hmm.
We have a pretty decent community over there, so I encourage you to come check it out. What else?
We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on all of your favorite podcast apps, and we haven't had a Apple Podcast review in a while.
It's because I haven't begged in a while. That we need some reviews to help with the algorithm, so we can be found more easily and more people can enjoy the show. So tell your friends, leave us a review. We really appreciate it, and we'll read it on the show.
Awesome. Well, everybody, hope you enjoyed the show. Stay safe, stay healthy.
We'll talk next week.